Greetings, YouTube. At one time, I had an irrational fear of zombies. I actually thought they were going to rise and start swarming the world. I know, that's silly. The zombies in my head were being basically the manifestations of my own fears, anxieties, and lingering issues from my past that I had not resolved or could not resolve. And my subconscious just turned them into zombies and then let them run loose in my head and the world around me. Eventually I came to get this under grips, and zombies stopped being an issue in my head. Unfortunately, it kind of spoiled my ability to enjoy the genre of the zombies, something I used to really get into when I was younger. And one of the ways I got beyond this was to begin to look at the very nature of the whole concept of the zombie plague. Because if you're going to have zombies be a genre and be an interesting motivation for fiction, films, and such, you really need a plague. You need lots of them. I should first start off and say that I believe that my favorite type are the Romero type, the slow, shambling type of zombies, not the fast ones. The slow ones are really great metaphors for the very nature of death itself. Sure, you can outrun one, you can outrun a whole bunch of them, but you can't outrun them all. And they don't ever get tired, and you do. Nice metaphor for death. But I started thinking about the different types of zombie plagues you see in films. And a lot of them are disease vector zombie plagues. You have a single victim, that single victim then infects other victims, and so on and so on. Now, once you become a zombie, you're mindless. Your motivation is food. So you're not designed in any way to create new zombies. You're designed to take humans, render them into little meaty bits, and eat them. So the only ones you attack and escape are going to turn into zombies. This is not going to create a fast-spreading plague. It is in essence a blood-borne disease. And in reality, blood-borne diseases don't spread very fast. Look at your average outbreak of rabies. It usually contains less than a dozen victims, doesn't go very far. The disease vector zombie doesn't really work well, it's kind of a non-starter. Then you have the George Romero, everybody that dies rises. Better. You're getting more bodies now. But I actually worked up some numbers once. Let me pull those up. There are approximately 300 million Americans. We have an 8.6 annual death rate, which means annually there's approximately 25.8 million deaths. It works out to 215,000 deaths per month. 71,667 deaths per day. No, that's not right. Sorry. 2 million deaths per month. 71,667 deaths per day. 2,968 deaths per hour. Which means when there's an outbreak, there's going to be a ratio of 4,186 dead people for live people versus each zombie. 4,186 live people for each zombie. Those are some pretty good odds. Even if you think about the fact that only half of them are going to be viable combatants, the zombies aren't going to make it. The only zombie plague model I've ever seen was created by a man named Ross Campbell in a comic called The Abandoned. In it, anyone over the age of 22 dies. So one day, assumingly at midnight, everybody in the world who's 23 years or older dies and rises. Now that's a zombie plague. Let's face it, the zombies aren't rising. No one's going to get attacked, except possibly me, so I have a cat in my lap. So my anxieties were misplaced. It was a silly fear, and sadly, it's not a genre I can enjoy any longer. I think, however, I will be talking about 2 films recently that came out 28 days later and 28 months later in additional videos. Have a good one.